Good morning, good morning, good morning. My name is Sean Dex and I welcome you back to the Mega Grow for your daily Bitcoin analysis video. Bitcoin's dumping, Bitcoin's going to zero. So much anxiety, so much to talk about today. But before we begin, I do want to apologize if I sound a bit off today. I am still unwell, but well enough to do today's video. And we do have a lot of interesting things to talk about today, so I did not want to leave you guys hanging. Yo, we have Bitcoin on the 4-hour time frame, but over here at the Mega Grow, we know better. We know to stick to the higher time frames and then perhaps drill down to the lower time frames, which we will be doing today. We will come back down to the lower time frames over here on the 4-hour, the 12-hour, the daily, and discuss some interesting things that actually panned out, just like we talked about in the last video Krisha and I did together. But before we start with that, or rather before we get there, let's talk about what's important. And that is the fact that we are about to close a monthly in around 3 or 4 days. And what the hell just happened to my TradingView? Whoa. Okay. So yeah, we're about to close a monthly in around 3 or 4 days. So in today's video, we're going to start with the much higher time frames and then drill down to the 4-day, then the daily, and then we'll tackle the 4-hour as well. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to pull up my yearly chart. Yes, guys, the yearly. We have BLX over here where you have our price data coming in all the way from 2010 to 2020. 10 years of Bitcoin price action now. Wow. We are approaching the Bitcoin maturity asset phase, guys. And what are we looking at over here? A bull flag in around 2015 and broke towards the upside, leading to the 2017-2018 bull run all the way to 20,000. And could this be yet again another bull flag right over here? That is ugly. Let me draw it again. There we go. And we talked about this, right? I think it was around 2 months ago. I pulled up this 12-month chart. I told you guys, leading into this election, I will be playing the higher time frames. I will be looking at the 12-month, the 3-month, the monthly. And then if there's a trade that I cannot resist, I will be looking at the 4-day and the daily, perhaps the 2-day. But the major premise for anything we do would have to have been based on the yearly and the 3-month, guys. And we're going to be discussing that very briefly again. I do recommend you guys go ahead and pull up those videos again if you guys have forgotten the context, because it's really important, because all your trading decisions become so much easier. Which direction you take your trade in, how you take your trade, and even being patient, right? All comes down to keeping an eye on the bigger picture. And this, guys, this over here is your bigger picture. All right, this is literally as big as it can get, the 12-month time frame. We're about to close the year, guys, right? We have November, we have December, and the year is closed. What did we say we were looking for the mega bullish picture for this yearly close? If we can close above 13,900-ish, right? That's what I specifically said. We are looking for this year to close above 13,900. That would be the most bullish thing that Bitcoin could do. We could come and dip down after and test some key levels, but even a close above this key level here at around 13,900, let's say 14,000 to round it off, right? Nice psychological level as well. If we close above 14,000 at the end of the year, right, December 31st, it's going to be fireworks for 2021. That's something that I would be putting my money on. But hey, this is not financial advice. You guys got to do you. So that's the yearly close though. We looked at a couple of other things too. We said, hey guys, we are going to be looking at the 3-month time frame, right? And right over here, you guys can see how the bull flag, this formation over here, this bullish structure is a lot more evident, right? We have a high, lower high, a retest of the high that we'll talk about very soon, and these higher lows over here. This is your classic bull flag that we showed on the yearly, but is so much more evident, so much more clear, screaming at us on the 3-month time frame. If we close the 3-month time frame above this level over here, coming in at what? 14,000, it's going to line up with not only a yearly closing the bull flag, but this structure over here closing its bull flag flag above a major level, leading to possible, remember guys, possible and probable continuation. Now here's what's interesting. If you guys do remember from the video I did a month and a half or around 2 months ago, I was looking for Bitcoin to test this high over here at around 14,000 by the end of the year. By the way guys, I'm referring to the candle close high, alright? The candle close high that I've been talking about since the beginning of this year of October 2017, right over here. The bull run leading into 2017's high of 20,000. I'm referring to the 3-month candle close that came in at 14,000. That has been key for this entire consolidation for the past 3 years. So this test over here at 14,000 is what we were looking for by at least the end of the year. But I was expecting it to happen leading more towards the later end of November or perhaps into December. What's interesting is that we've gotten it already leading into the elections coming up in a week or so, right? And that I wouldn't have expected. As you guys know though, I am not following the fundamentals of the election or anything like that, so I am not fully aware as to what the market is expecting, blah blah blah. But from what I'm seeing on the charts, and this is just an example, by the way, guys, of how you can use the charts to tell you what the news is as opposed to watching the news and then trying to predict what the charts are going to do, because the charts are a lot more clear, a lot less bias to interpretation, right? Because you can always read news and one guy can say, hey, this is bullish, another guy can say, hey, that is bearish. Now, this is what I'm seeing. We are looking at the polls, right? And the polls are, from what I gather, leaning towards Biden winning. Okay. Now, I have no thoughts on that, or rather, I'm not going to express any thoughts or blah blah blah. But the point is that right now, based on what the market participants are seeing, they are seeing that Biden is likely to win, and we are seeing Bitcoin go up on that notion that Biden is likely to win. What does that tell us? That tells us that the market is pricing in Bitcoin being the favorable trade, aggressively so, over gold, over the stock market, etc. if Biden wins. Now, you guys can come up with your own interpretation on that, but we are looking at a possible scenario that if Biden wins, Bitcoin actually has a more explosive move than if Trump were to win. And that's pretty interesting. And that's all it is, by the way, guys. It's interesting because my interpretation could be completely wrong. All that matters is that my direction is right and my execution on my trade also is right. But I just thought I'd leave you guys with those thoughts. By the way, I'm not trying to imply that a Trump victory is bad for Bitcoin. I'm not saying that at all. In fact, if Trump wins, all markets are likely going to do well. But hey, that is a topic for another time. Okay, so going back to what we were talking about, if you guys do remember, I was looking for a test of the 14,000 by end of year. We have pretty much already got it. Let me go ahead and remove all drawings. We pretty much, we did. In fact, we tested that 13,850-ish level to the dot. All right, we tested to the dot, which actually poses for some interesting scenarios leading towards the end of this year, because we have November and we have all of December too, right? So what is likely to happen now? We can look at this 3-month structure. We can go back towards the 12-month structure as well, right? It's amazing how things panned out so well, like the structure right now at least, okay? This view, guys, that you are looking at of the yearly chart is what I had envisioned going into later November or later into December, okay? But we got that now already. The question is, let's say we still hold this picture towards end of December, right, or mid-December. Now we can talk about actually closing above a little bit later, but let's talk about just holding this picture between now and end to mid-December. What can happen in the interim, right? And us still have this picture, because a lot can happen, guys. A month and a half, or actually 2 months, is a long time, and Bitcoin can do a lot in just 2 days. So what are the possible scenarios that could give us good trade opportunities between now and then, right? We were looking at the 3 month, we looked at the 12 month, and we're looking at this structure over here that can hold the same candles, okay? The same look that you're looking at right now, where Bitcoin is testing 13,900, this bullish structure over here, this high, it's testing the high before the break. What can happen in between before we actually do see a break, or before we settle at this candle structure yet again? Well, this is where we can now go to the monthly time frame, right? You guys are getting an idea now of how I come up with my thesis, because a lot of people are like, Sean, how do you know this was going to happen this way and that way and this way? I'm not doing anything special, guys. It's a combination of two things: experience and keeping an eye on the higher picture, on the bigger time frames. I am not smart, I am not a genius or anything, I'm not like a market wizard. All of you can do the very same thing. Believe me, every one of you can do the same thing. The people out there who are making it sound complicated are trying to simply make themselves look good and bamboozle you, pretty much. But I'm here to tell you that all of this is simple if you are willing to keep it simple. All right? Keep it simple. Keep it mango, do it the stress-free way. All right, so going back to what I was talking about, we were looking at the 12 month and the 3 month, and we said, hey, what can Bitcoin possibly do and still revert back to the same structure? So essentially, we're like, okay, let's go ahead and mark out December somewhere around here. All right, guys? So end of year, somewhere around here. Okay, this point here. So what can Bitcoin do between this period over here and this area over here and still settle at this price point? That's what you have to ask yourself. Well, we can pretty much come all the way down to some key levels, retest those levels, and still have a candle close by the end of the year over here, right? So what are some key levels that you could look at? Well, to me, by the way, this is another example for those of you in the Mango C program. If you're looking at the support and resistance module, what are some key levels? Just looking at the chart. Okay, just looking at the chart quickly. Okay, one of the key concepts I went over and over again in that module, you would have been looking at this level here, you would have been looking at this one here and this one here, right? Even if you did not have any of this price action that happened, these would have been 3 major levels that you would have been marking out. So let's go ahead and mark it. We'll mark this one too, and we'll mark this one here. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and remove these dirty circles, making the chart untidy. Apologies, bear with me. All right, cool. And wow, you can see how Bitcoin actually respected those levels right over here too on the monthly time frame right over here. And then we've come and tested to the T, to the dot, this level over here. Now the next level that we'll be looking to test, perhaps next year, perhaps this year, who knows, man, Bitcoin's being explosive, is all the way here at around 19,000 to 20,000, right? But the question is, what can Bitcoin do in the interim before actually going ahead and breaking this level? If Bitcoin breaks this level between now and then, we are likely going to just make a quick move to 20,000. But we are talking about, let's say Bitcoin sees resistance. Where could we come down to before retesting this level over here and holding that monthly structure? Remember what our thesis was. Remember what our premise was in coming up with this analysis. We said, hey, if Bitcoin holds that, or this structure over here, I'm going to go back to the 3 month, okay? If Bitcoin holds this structure over here by the end of the year, nothing else changes, okay? If we are at this level, we're not talking about being higher, we're not talking about being lower. If we are at this level yet again at 13,600-ish by end of year, what could happen in the interim and us still hold that structure? Well, we go back to the horizontal we just drew and we say, hey, cool, we have around 2 months before that could happen. So we have our levels marked. Bitcoin could come down, retest this level over here, and then go back up there for December, right? It's as simple as that. Boom, that's your thesis. You could keep it as simple as that and be like, okay, guys, I'm going to wait for this level over here around 11,700-ish. Okay, if Bitcoin does come down there, I'm going to try for a trade, and as long as we hold that level on the monthly time frame, I am good. My thesis is correct because you are playing the monthly time frame. All right? Bitcoin could come lower, in fact, and perhaps wick down to this level here, test these closes over here, and still close the month of November above it. And then December could go ahead, retest this level, perhaps close here, and boom, right? This is just one thesis. This is just one way your mind should be working as a trader and thinking of possible scenarios. I'm going like, okay, if this and this and this happens, I'm going to trade it as that and that and that. All right. If this, then that. Mango way, stress-free, period. If it doesn't pan out that way, close your trade. Formulate another thesis if you have to, or open up your books, open up your notebook, be like, all right, what's my next thesis? What's the next possible scenario? If the next possible scenario tells you, you know what? Open up your trade again, because this open up a brand new trade, because it works out either way. Perhaps now you can open up a trade towards the downside, or perhaps now you open up a trade for a different scenario, but you open up a trade. But the key is to close your trade regardless, because your first thesis was invalidated. That mental aspect, the psychological aspect of closing the trade when you're invalidated and retrying for another trade at the same level, if you have to, is what makes a professional trader separate from an amateur trader, because the professional trader understands the psychological aspect of this game is way more important than the technical aspect. You guys are all probably beginning to realize how important the mind game is in all of this. All right, okay, cool, enough of the ramble. Let me go ahead. We were on the monthly, right? I just wanted to delete all of this. Okay, so we are now looking at possible scenario of Bitcoin possibly coming down all the way to 11,700-ish, perhaps 12,000, get a little front run on these highs depending on how bullish Bitcoin is, and then coming back up to 14,000. That is if Bitcoin actually sees follow through on the downside with its most current moves, where it lost its lower time frame uptrend. All right, that's all that's happened, if even that, guys, because I'm going to go ahead and show you guys some lower time frame charts very soon, but depends on what you guys consider lower time frame. To me, honestly, anything underneath the daily is lower time frame. You could even look at the daily as lower time frame at the moment. So key levels, guys, 11,750-ish. You guys can go ahead and draw this yourselves and get the exact numbers if you're interested in that. By now, many of you should know how to draw at least these very basic lines. Of course, the advanced concepts of support and resistance, etc., you guys will pick up over time, but at least knowing how to draw your levels, guys, after I show to you. Okay, next level around 13,850-ish, and after that around 19,000 to 20,000-ish. So now we can go down to the lower time frames. By the lower time frames, I'm referring relative to the monthly, and we're going to look at the 4-day. Okay, the 4-day is very simple, especially you guys can see how well, by the way. Let's just zoom out, okay, quickly before I talk about what I want to. Look how to the T that lined up right over here. Okay, this high to the T. But what were we looking for our edge on the 4-day time frame to take the trade? Okay, if you guys have been following the videos where I've been discussing the 4-day time frame, I said, okay, on the 4-day I'm going to be looking for one very simple thing, okay, because this has given us some really good trades, and that is the Mango dynamic right over here. Let me zoom in. Okay, we are looking throughout this period over here, guys, all the way from around September, going all the way leading into October. We said, okay, it's going to be very simple. This line over here that the Mango dynamic has drawn for us, the line in sand, if we close above over here, boom, that is your long opportunity. If it lines up with other things as well, great, and it did. It lined up with exactly the other scenario that we're looking for on the daily. We'll go ahead and talk about that very soon too. But look at this, got the candle close, and boom, right above. Now, I know you guys don't have access to this, right? But it doesn't matter. This is the 4-day time frame. You guys could have literally just noted this number down, because I'd been very specific about it. Okay, around 11,000, 10,950-ish, close above that, we have our 4-day candle close above the major level that we're looking for. Boom, got the up thrust, right? You had 4 days on each of these candles, and this lasts a long time, and I kept showing it to you over and over again. Got an up thrust to where? Well, the first key level that you could have been looking at is around 11,893, but this candle blew right past it, and the next major level was our 13,800-ish, and we just came and tested that, seeing some resistance as we speak, but we have a day and 15 hours before we close this candle. Now, this is what I'm looking for, guys. How well do we close this candle? If we close this candle anywhere above, let's go ahead and do this. You can go ahead and take the 50% mark, right? Lines up right above this wick, actually. So I like that. 13,400-ish. If we can close about 13,450, I like to see a 60% candle close at the very least, and then make sure that we defend this low over here at 12,900. If we do that, I'm thinking, okay, you know what? This is a pretty good candle close, but we could have a scenario like this, okay? If you have a scenario like this, oh, by the way, when I say defend, the 12,900 low. I'm talking about the next 4-day candle. So we're looking for 2 4-day candles to start feeling good about this toppy structure over here, because remember guys, we are against a major resistance. Okay, we were looking for Bitcoin to take out that high and close candles above that. We are seeing resistance instead. All right, that's fine, that's expected. It's not the end of the world. No reason to feel grim. Look for opportunity. So we could very well see this bearish structure that everybody started fretting about, but look what happened right after, right? Boom, opportunity at these levels right over here, right? From these guys, opportunity that even though I was screaming on these videos saying, hey, accumulation, blah, 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 I pulled up so many levels for you guys. Very few listened. I'm not here to say I told you so. It does sound like that, but hey, sometimes trades can be easy and stress-free. Opportunity, up thrust, boom, 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 right? Now, what are we looking for? Well, perhaps a similar scenario. Will Bitcoin be that generous? Should we expect something like this? Opportunity, and boom, right? Or perhaps opportunity comes only down to this level over here. Let me actually stop scribbling and draw levels for you guys. On the 4-day time frame, 11,800-ish, right? Where does this line up with, guys, by the way? Does this not sound familiar? Our 3-month time frame, right? Oh, sorry, it was on the monthly where we could see it. On the monthly time frame, right? We were talking about how we come down and test that 11,750-ish level right over here, perhaps front run it on the highs, which would line up with the 4-day retest of these levels over here around 11,850-ish, right? Remember, guys, we're looking at the monthly time frame. You can't get too nitpicky with a few dollars here and there. So that's another possible scenario that lines up with the 4-day time frame retesting its breakout zone from this region over here. Let me draw it for you guys. Retest, boom, perhaps a scenario. Let's keep an eye out for that. Now, let's go ahead and look at the daily time frame to see if we have any clues that is lining up with what we are just talking about. I hope I'm recording. Okay, thank God. Wow. So yeah, you guys have no idea how many times I've done, even for the seed module, by the way, guys, I'd done like a 20-minute video with the most amazing explanation and analogy, and then I pan on over to my OBS and realize I wasn't recording. And you guys know how much effort I put into those explanations. I'm drawing freaking, oh my God. Anyways, whew, that was brutal. Anyways, let's get back on over to our daily time frame now. And again, this was another big indication. Broke up over here, flipped green over here, retested up thrust. Even if you didn't want to take the trade somewhere around here, right? The riskier trade, but the more rewarding trade. But it lined up with something else too. We'll talk about that soon. Look at this. Here you had your brilliant opportunity. Breakout, retest on the Mango dynamic, and boom. By the way, I do want to announce something quickly for those of you who actually sat through the video. A lot of you guys are going to be pleasantly surprised. Very soon I'm going to make an announcement in regards to the Mango dynamic indicator. No, it's not going to be available just yet, but something in regard to it that will make many of you very happy. So that announcement is likely going to be coming on Monday. All right. So yeah, I'm going to remove all these drawings over here. So this is just basically telling you, what is this telling you guys? Okay, we're holding the blue dots, we're holding the green line. In fact, the blue dot, which is your buy opportunity dot, is what I call it, the BO dot, gave you a brilliant buy right over here, right? 12,914 to that wick, to the freaking wick, and got bought back. But what's more important, it's telling you that the trend is still intact. It's telling you that, hey, do not panic, do not get anxious. Bitcoin is just having a pullback that could end up being a buy opportunity that you're going to be like, damn, I should have bought there. Why didn't I? Blah, blah, blah. Happens all the time, right? Not going to catch every trade. But the point over here is, you may miss a buy opportunity, but what you shouldn't, missing buy opportunity is completely fine. Okay, there's lots of opportunity in the market, but panicking, letting it stress you out, getting anxious, that you shouldn't be doing. Because all you have to do is zoom out, look at the bigger picture, and be like, hey, everything is fine, right? Right over here, we are on BLX actually, so I'm not sure what the most updated price action is. BLX is sitting at 13,290. It only updates at the end of the day. I think we're sitting at 13,200 at the moment. But yeah, we'll go ahead and switch on over to that in a bit. So the daily is looking fine too. Remember what we were looking for on the big daily trade, by the way, that lined up with the 4-day as well as this over here, was the Ichimoku trade, guys. Let me switch on over my Ichimoku's loading right now. Trading view is a bit slow, man. I'm talking a little bit way too fast for my bad throat today. Let me go ahead and take a sip of water while Ichimoku decides to load. By the way, guys, I really appreciate the feedback you guys have been giving me on the Ichimoku module. Some really kind and generous comments that have been getting me a PMs, and I really appreciate it, guys. Like, more than anything, right, even more than my trades, doing what I do in terms of teaching has always been far more fulfilling, and this has been something that I've held dear to me ever since my early university days. I was teaching since second year university to the first years, then third, fourth year university as well. In fact, I wanted to do my PhD only because I wanted to teach. All right, that was supposed to be the end goal for me, to be a professor, until my professor said, Sean, if you want to teach, you may not want to be a professor. But that's a story for another time. We'll talk about that on perhaps the live streams. All right, here we are back on our live charts. We're looking at Coinbase. So we have our updated price action. Bitcoin sitting at around 13,200-ish as we speak. And we have our Ichimoku turned on as well. So the perfect trade opportunity using the Ichimoku happened right over here, guys. In fact, you had a first initial get ready or take a starter position right over here that even Krisha was talking about in the video when it broke over the Kumo. But the key, beautiful, magical trade happened right over here. Now, those of you who are on the C program, the Ichimoku module is out, and during the recording of the Ichimoku, right, while I was teaching it through the live examples as well, I was talking about this trade unfolding, right? Talking about how, guys, this is the perfect Ichimoku trade setup that you don't get too often. Okay, this perfect setup, the 100 on 100 trade, the 3-star trade does not show up that often. And we talked about it was a really interesting scenario, right? Because often as traders, you're going to have conflicting ideas, so to speak. So essentially, there's going to be two levels. One level that tells you, hey, you know what, we broke a key level over here and we can take a long, but then right above head you're going to have a resistance that's telling you, wait a minute, we are smack against resistance. That happens often, and we talked about that scenario happening right over here and how the Ichimoku really helps clear out doubts, right, and tells you, you know what, regardless, it's time to take the trade. And that happened right over here. So you had the perfect setup as an educational setup at the very least, where the Ichimoku gave you all flags green, as well as that dilemma, right, that we could learn from. And look at how well it panned out, because if you took the trade over here, you got a really nice move from 11,300 moving all the way up to our next major resistance at 13,800, and right now things are looking really good. So again, guys, if you're looking at the daily time frame, we're still making higher lows and higher highs. We are in a daily uptrend. Nothing to get too anxious about, nothing to stress until we start losing those levels, until we start losing the daily uptrend. This is all that this is a pullback. Now let's go on over to the lower time frame now and look all the way back up to the 12-hour, and the 12-hour too, guys, is maintaining its higher lows. This low over here is lower than this low over here is lower than this low. And now the question is, do we lose these lows over here or do we defend them? An easier way to look at it is simply look for candle closes underneath 12,922. If we see two 12-hour candle closes underneath 12,900-ish, I'll be looking for Bitcoin to trace back a little bit lower. First stop would be around 12,300. Then we'll be testing these levels over here of this head and shoulders like structure at 11,950, right? So we'll be testing the shoulders. After that, if we lose that too, again, guys, it's going to happen step by step, right? So we're going to see bounces in the interim. So a bounce at around 12,232. If we fail to see continuation, then after that, we're going to be seeing a test of 11,900-ish. If we fail to see a bounce and continuation after that as well, then we'll be testing these highs over here at around 11,700-ish, right? So this lines up with that monthly level, and the fact that we are saying that this is likely going to take its time happening, that also lines up with testing the monthly levels towards the end of next month or even in the middle of the next month, and then bounce up higher after that, right? Again, all a probability, nothing is a certainty. We can go ahead and wrap up the video by looking at the 4-hour time frame really quickly. We'll also do an update as to or on what we talked about in the video Kush and I did together. Here we have the 4-hour time frame, and if you guys remember, this is a very quick update on what we discussed, more of an educational thingy. What were we looking for? We're looking for Bitcoin to essentially take out this high over here around 13,240, or you could have looked for 2 4-hour candle closes above this level right over here at 13,152. Hey, in fact, we did get a 4-hour candle close right above that. Right over there, guys. So this was a trade option here, actually. I wasn't looking at this because as soon as we closed above it, we shot right up, right? I was looking at this high as my major level at 13,240. 45-ish. As soon as you took that out, boom, that was your trade all the way to major high at 13,862, and we tested that right over there. Right now, what's Bitcoin doing? Has the 4-hour lost its trend? Does it matter? Should you guys be looking at the 4-hour? There are multiple ways you could look at this. You could look at this over here, this over here, and this over here, and say, hey, no, we're still doing higher lows, right? High highs, higher low. Can Bitcoin defend this on the 4-hour time frame? If we lose this, then again, same thing as we discussed on the 12-hour. In fact, I recommend you guys at the least look at the 12-hour, or make your lives really simple and look at the monthly, look at the 4-day and the daily like I do. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. My name is Sean Dexter. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys enjoy these kind of educational longer videos. If not, I'm happy to say, hey guys, Bitcoin's going here or Bitcoin's going there, blah blah blah, to the moon, blah blah blah. See you guys in the next video. I could do that in 5 minutes, but hey, I doubt you guys are looking for that. Until then, do it the mango way, do the stress-free way. My name is Sean Dexter. Ciao.